I've only been on Discord once before, and it's a really interesting setup. It just seems very. It was designed by nerds,
It was
not
totally
for
designed
normal
by
people.
nerds.
Right. Hard part is I look at them like a normal person wouldn't have designed the GUI like this. I think it looks cool, but it's just fucking confusing. And I can do my screen too, so that's cool. So you can record from here, or do you have
Yeah,
to
well,
use some other software?
yeah, I'm using OBS just to record the audio, and then yeah,
Yeah.
until I get a
Now,
better
can
PC.
people join? Can people join this and listen? And like, could we do this and that? Then if like you when you live stream on YouTube, obviously people come in and listen and watch. But if we did a podcast on Discord, could other people come into it and just listen, but not necessarily participate with voice? Is that possible?
I
Yeah, yeah,
I
I don't
haven't
know.
worked that out yet. I know you can. It has some streaming mode on here, but I think you have to
Yeah,
have like you have to tell people the Discord and the community and all that stuff.
yeah.
Not that many people I know use Discord. It's all like the PC
Or
gamer
Chan,
people. Yeah,
4chan, and
4chan.
alt right trolls.
Oh man, oh
That's
man.
awesome. But yeah, man, I just thought I was bored. I was thinking, and like, it's like, you know what, man, we got to kick this off at some point because the world's blowing up right now, and I thought
Turning and burning.
it's a good time to talk about stuff, car
Hmm.
stuff, and life stuff, and all this other shit because people aren't really getting the truth anymore. It's just a bunch of
Seriously,
bullshit.
man.
So yeah,
Cannon
so
fodder.
I know. So I didn't know how you wanted to do this. We can just fucking record it and bullshit, or we can
Oh,
uh
definitely.
whatever you want to do, man. I'm just kind of sitting here
Yeah, I
fucking
usually just record the whole thing and then, I mean,
chop it up.
just riff on it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if there's any, too much pauses or, we got to get up and take a
Oh yeah.
piss, whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
can always
yeah.
edit it out later. But yeah.
That's cool. So what's it like in Virginia, given the state of our country at the moment? Is
Oh
Virginia
man.
is it
It's
I
a
can't
hot
imagine.
it's a hotbed, bro. Downtown, they're ripping that
So what's
motherfucker
what's
apart.
downtown what's downtown for you? What's the closest like downtown?
I mean,
Richmond? No.
yeah, Richmond basically.
Richmond.
Richmond's about 25-minute drive, depending on if you're getting to like inner city limits and stuff like that. And then to the heart of the city, it's probably like 35-minute drive from
Yeah.
here in good old suburbia. But
Yeah.
like where all those monuments are and stuff like that, dude, all that shit
Yeah.
is getting beat up. They are so upset.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they are. It's really interesting because it seems like it's a really small to me at least it seems like it's a really small minority of people that are really mad, but they're having a really big impact culturally right now.
Oh,
So it
definitely.
appears. I think
Definitely.
most normal people I think just want to be left the fuck alone. Like, dude,
For
like I
sure.
mean, it's like they don't want to like. I couldn't care less how people live their lives of how they what they think, as long as they treat people with decency. It's like I don't give a fuck. Go live your life how you want to live it. Just like,
Absolutely.
oh my god, dude, I didn't tell you this. My mountain is on fire right now. Like
I
the
do.
whole mountain range
I
is on
saw
fire.
that I heard that in the you posted those two videos unboxing the
Yeah,
Brembos and talking about them and stuff. I didn't know if you meant literally or just
it's literally.
like
I can see the orange fire glow from behind the mountain right now. I'm sitting on my patio, and the smoke is. Luckily, the smoke's not coming towards me. It's going probably
God,
north. But yeah,
that's a
it's
trip.
13,000 acres right now are burning on the whole backside. The whole northern side of the mountain range is on fire. So where I drive, when I drive the mountain, that whole area has been evacuated now. Now we're
God,
just kind of hanging out. So
that's a
pretty crazy.
trip.
It is a trip. It's not
What
burning like a Wendy's in Atlanta or any other.
is it? Just wildfire? Just like
It's
flat?
just wild. Lightning
God,
strike 2 weekends ago, I think. And it's just but this is nature. This is what I told my wife. I said, this is what happens. This is what's been happening for millions of years on our planet. Is
oh,
that
definitely.
fucking God hits a lightning strike on you, it burns the forest, and then it regrows. This is the circle of life. So
God,
we can fight it, or we can just like try to contain it so it doesn't burn anybody's houses down. But just this is it.
God's
This is how life works.
God's moving that herd of deer. So the next time you hit the mountain,
Exactly.
there's no
It's
incident.
no. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did I
taking
ever
cars
did I ever
out.
tell you the time I hit a deer and the silver DC5?
N-
I don't know if you ever heard
Was it head
this.
on?
Oh man, it was completely head on. It was
Yeah.
I think it was about 12 or 1 in the morning. I was coming back into the neighborhood. I was on the main road got a text from my girlfriend at the time, and literally I looked down just for a second, and like, I'm
Yeah.
not a text and drive type person. I just looked to see who it was, see if it was important or whatever. So then
Yeah.
I looked down, turned my phone off, and then when I look back up, this doe is like literally in the road, and
Fucking
I
just staring at you.
it's just staring, and I'm like maybe 50, 60 feet away from it. I was going about 50 or 55.
Yeah.
Slammed on the brakes. This is
Ugh.
back on the silver car. The silver car was dumped. That thing was like 3 inches lowered. So when
Yeah.
I hit it probably going maybe like, I slowed down to maybe like 10 miles an hour. But when I hit it,
Right.
the thing literally got its legs taken out from underneath it, goes up in the air like you're watching the fucking Olympics or something, and
Yeah.
it does two front flips, dude. It does two front flips, lands 50 feet away from me, and you hear the fucking
Oh.
ground just thud, boom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I choked out. I took my fucking foot off the clutch, and
Right.
when I started the car up, I was like, "Oh man, please just let this car start. We'll see what the damage
Yeah.
is in a second."
Right. Yep. Yep.
When I started it up, the fucking thing got up and gimped away. I was like, "No way!" I was like,
Yeah,
"That
dude.
thing's still alive." I was like, "That thing was
Well,
like
yeah.
eight feet up in the air, did two front flips, landed on its side, fucking got beat all up." I was like, "Oh man!" I was like,
Well, it's like I think it's the way that that a lot of drunk drivers survive accidents is because their body goes limp, right? So
"Totally,
because the
totally.
worst thing you can do, the worst thing you do is tighten up, because then you really fuck yourself up. But
Oh, for
if
sure,
that thing just goes limp, then it's just like a wet noodle flopping around. So yeah,
definitely."
it's scary because it's like it has a death wish. It just sits there and stares at you as you come down on it. And it's like, just fucking get out of the way, dude. But they love them lights. They see
Hmm.
those. That's all they want.
It's a free show. So how's everything been going, man? Other than the
It's
fire
been
and
going. Yeah,
pandemonium, how's the
yeah. It's
family?
been. I mean, the family's good. It's just we live in a weird world now. I mean, I was kind of alluding to it on my lame ass YouTube channel videos, but it's like we, for when you have kids, this whole time is really strange because they don't know any better, right? Because they haven't been old enough to become cynical and see through the bullshit, right? They haven't taken the red pill, so to speak, like
Right.
Matrix reference. Like
Definitely,
they're
definitely.
still living, in a Matrix, right? So they understand now that they can't do certain things because of this mystery called COVID, and but they're getting taught these things like wearing masks is now going to be normal, and like they when they go, my son goes to gymnastics, he has to, there's lines on the fucking ground now where he has to stop, he only can go from block to block to block to keep the distancing going,
Hmm.
social distancing. So that's having an effect. It's gonna have a long-term effect on him. And then all this shit on television and shit about fucking race wars and fucking white guilt and all this crazy. This is, the world's very strange right now. And I just have to educate him and try to keep him, avoid television.
Sane.
Yeah, okay, keep him sane. Well, avoid television. Well, the news specifically, and then just just try to live a normal life. And I think for a lot of people, and maybe this is the way it is for you, but it's like I can watch the news and get depressed and see how shitty the world is. And I think having access to a lot of information, which the internet brings us nowadays, can be great, right? So if we want to watch Young Static on cars or whatever, like we can see things, we can learn things really quick, and which is awesome. But at the same time, it opens our brain up to a lot of shit that we normally wouldn't have seen in the past. And I don't think we can handle it.
It's
I don't think our
totally,
minds are.
totally
It's too
sensory
much
overload.
exposure, right? Exactly, and because of that, um, people don't understand the damage it does to them because they think this is normal. Like it's normal now for us to live connected all the time, and I totally am rejecting that lifestyle now. So I've gotten off Instagram. I'm done. Like the only thing I have is YouTube, just as an outlet, and then hopefully maybe this podcast can be an outlet because I still have things I want to say and express. But it's like I know that I know for me personally, I cannot be connected all the time because it fucking ruins my life in a bad way
Oh, definitely.
because you can't help but worry about stuff, and I don't want to
Yeah.
worry about stuff because in reality, I know a lot of people don't like Donald Trump, and he broke a lot of people's brains when he got elected. But it's like he really has no effect on me at all. Like he
Yeah.
can pass policy. I mean, the legislators in the legislative branch, they can pass laws, and he can either veto them or sign them, and they may have an effect on me. Like I may pay a slightly more higher percentage on my taxes, but in reality, my day to day life is the same. I see my kids, I see my wife, I go to work, I come home, I interact with people at my Safeway or my fucking Ace Hardware, and that's it. Like I don't have this feeling of impending doom that my government's going to come and stomp out my rights. Now, So for me, this whole COVID thing really isn't a big deal. I just see kind of the big picture damage, which is like dystopian Illuminati, and New World Order type shit, which is
Oh, definitely.
we're becoming conditioned. We're becoming conditioned to a new way of life, and I think the people that control technology and the real money, the big guys, they're watching this and they're taking notes and they're seeing how passively we go along with it, and that's concerning for me because of the fact that I have my son and my daughter that I'm going to grow up and I have to educate them to be aware of it. That's basically it. So other than that, my life's great. life's life's awesome. I got my Brembo brake upgrade.
Man, those
I mean,
things
there's
look
things
awesome,
I can.
man.
Yeah, they look great. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, they're supposed to fit under my stock wheels, so we'll see about that. But yeah, life's fun. Life's good, I guess. I mean, I can distract myself with trinkets and stuff like that. But I mean, it's good, I guess.
Yeah, it's
I
definitely the
understand
way to
why.
go these days,
What
you
about
know?
for? I mean, what is it like for you though? I mean,
Kind of the
you're.
same. I mean, I'd say minus like, we kind of come from like different, paths of life. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
not saying I wouldn't want a family. I'd love a family, man, but
Yes, you would. Trust me.
fuck.
You need to find a woman and start busting nuts. Make children. Trust
Seriously.
me, it's awesome.
But
But yeah, no, I understand.
the worrier in me is like, oh man, what kind of world are we living in? Like if it's this bad now, or if it like each year gets crazier, more population, more just
Yeah.
off the wall shit. It's like, man, what are they gonna be when they're adults? Like, what kind of world are they gonna be in? That's always my number one like worry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a completely valid concern, and I think you can't deny you can't, and this is, there's this gay ass fiction book called Inferno by Dan Brown. He wrote the what's that one? Vinci Code stuff. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's about
yeah.
like about yeah, it's a decent book. It's about a scientist that goes crazy and wants to kill half the world because he's concerned about overpopulation. And there's no doubt that we're gonna at the rate we're reproducing, we're not there yet, but there's gonna be a point where resources will get constrained and things will begin to fracture. And that's why my concern is not only the increase in population, obviously for our country specifically, it's the increase in immigration, but it's really the fact that what we really don't have much that ties us together anymore as a country. It seems like because
Yeah, there's
all the institutions that we knew growing up in in the 80s for me, and they're all trying to be destroyed. Like that's the scariest part about this whole thing is that everyone agrees that what happened to that George Floyd guy was bad. It was horrible.
horrible. Definitely.
Shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. Right? There's a lot of bad cops out there. A lot of great ones though. And police reform makes sense to some extent. Like maybe we should think about better ways to police in certain respects. I think we should always look for better ways of doing everything. Right? Be
I'll
more
always
efficient.
improve for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's like continuous process improvement. That's I think big thing. So it's like we all agree. Everybody agrees that what happened was terrible. But what we're seeing now has nothing to do with what happened anymore. George Floyd. It's about people that for I would say decades been trying slowly to destroy kind of the foundation of what our country is. They're doing it, and no one's saying, you know what the fuck you like. What the fuck are you talking about? And the way they're doing it is they're making you decide whether you support Black Lives Matter or not. That's the thing. That's the weapon they're using. Is like, do you support Black Lives Matter? Or like the whole Blackout Tuesday. Was it Blackout Tuesday on Instagram?
Yep,
Right.
yep. Saw a bunch
Right.
of people doing
Yep.
that.
Yeah, all these virtue signalers are saying, I support Black Lives. And they do it because number one, they're afraid
It's trend
that if they
mongering.
do,
That's all it
it's a
is.
trend. That and this is we see this in the car community. We see this all the time with Hondas and any car communities. You see trends and fads, and people kind of go with the wind. They change with the wind, and it's like, listen, we can agree. I think everybody agrees. All lives are important for them. I genuinely think that most people think like, yeah, everyone should be treated with fairness and dignity, and what's is said in the Constitution is the way we should try to live, and we understand historical context of how our country was founded. I think everybody understands that. But the problem is there's a lot of people now that have never liked our country. They think it was founded on unfair terms, you can say. Like we stole it from the Indians, for example, or whatever,
Right,
even though
right.
they were fighting for millennia amongst each other. The whole thing is ridiculous. But so now they want to just destroy it. So they're ripping down monuments, they're destroying history, and they have nothing to replace it with. And their answer is to defund the police with no explanation of what the impacts are going to be about that, you know.
Good luck with that.
Uh yeah, well good luck with that. And then it's like Seattle, it's like the Chaz the Chaz movement in Seattle, you know, the same people that rally against Trump for wanting to put up walls or wanting to have tighter immigration. These people, the first thing they do is they occupy a piece of, you know, 6 city blocks and they put up walls and they start checking IDs coming in and out. And they're basically trying to identify who's allegiant to them and letting those people in. And if you're not coming in. And that's so the hypocrisy is what's amazing. Like, you guys,
It's a
it's
double
the same
standard.
fucking thing, right? It's like, what is it that you guys really want? And what they want is they want to be in control. That's what it is. All about power. They want power. There's just two people in this world, Shades. It's people that want to be left the fuck alone to do what they want, make music, have sex with their wives, whatever, procreate. And then there's people that want to tell other people how to live their lives. And that's
Definitely.
it. And that's what you're seeing now. Is I think that's going to be the kind of the separation in people, is that in this country is like, I just want to be left the fuck alone, man. You know, if you don't like our country, fine. Say whatever you want about our country, but don't try to fucking make me say what you want me to say or behave a certain way, because that's the antithetical to the fucking First Amendment, right? The whole idea of our country is freedom to express however you feel without fear of being canceled. So I don't know, man. It's fucking, I can't imagine what's like on the East Coast right now, dude. I can't.
Man, Richmond, man. Oh my God.
We don't have a lot of black people in Tucson. Well, we have some. That's cool. There are a lot of like a lot of African migrants come over, and they're completely different. They're completely different than those that are raised, that are American, that are.
I think the majority of the people that are protesting are not the hard working class, the people that need to make rent and support families and shit like that. They got some serious free time on their hands, you know.
Have you ever protested in your life?
Never.
Ever, right? I've never. Have you ever thought about protesting?
Nah,
like
really.
Genuinely been, yeah, like genuinely, like, you know what? I'm gonna go fucking hold this sign. It's gonna make a difference. I'm gonna scream at the top. Never does, right? It's silly, and I really think that it's gonna fall down on kind of this biological. There's some biological trait within certain types of people that feel that making a sign with cardboard and a marker and screaming for hours at random strangers makes a difference. Like, to me, that I'm so removed from that concept that my thought is, why the fuck you have a job? Like, have a job, dude.
Yeah,
like, get a job,
get
go
a
work,
job.
get a job. You fucking hippie, no. But it's like, I mean, there are certain times where protests make sense, and they're in the civil rights movement and stuff like that. Like, there are legitimate things you can maybe protest about, but like we're protesting about systemic racism, for example. They want systemic race. There's systemic racism, right? Okay. All I want to do is be like, just what system are you talking about? And show me where in the system that it's racist. And I will agree with you. We should fix it. But
I think the big misconception with the whole myth of like white privilege and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They got it stirred all wrong. It's not even white privilege; it's a rich privilege. You know what I mean?
Well, it's rich and it's being good looking. That helps, man. If you're super fucking hot, if you're hot, if you're really attractive and tall, dude. I mean, come on. There's nothing you really can't do. And you're right. Honestly, I think the greatest privilege of all, the greatest privilege you can have is having two parents, having a good, strong family. Like that is the biggest thing that will give you a leg up, in my opinion, is not whether my skin is white or if it's dark or if I'm tan or mulatto, whatever. Yeah, okay. There's certain area, but the thing is about white privilege is, I always thought about this, is like, my white privilege does not extend to the southern part of Chicago or certain streets in Memphis, or I know there are places where I simply cannot go.
Exactly.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, I wish there was no area where I wasn't allowed to go to, but I recognize that there are people that will not like me just because of how I look, and that's whatever, you know. When I lived in Colombia for a while in South America, and I stuck out like a sore thumb because I was a white guy and I was bald and I had a beard and I didn't look like anyone around, and I knew that if anywhere I went, I was going to be looked at like a foreigner, which I was, obviously. And I expected it, so I was never upset about it when someone when I was never mistreated per se, but like I always knew there was an expectation that people would kind of give me a second glance. I knew that, and that would be the same thing if I won. I remember there's times where me and my wife, we were in Houston, and we were at a soccer game in Houston, MLS soccer game. We left the game, and we were leaving the stadium. We made a wrong turn down by the University of Houston, and we were in a part of the neighborhood we shouldn't have been in. Like, we knew the moment we made that turn on that street, we said, we should not be on this road, right? And we quickly got off that road. So my white privilege does not extend to those streets, and yeah, and I agree with you. It's being rich is massive, but even being rich is interesting because there's this assumption. I don't want to say it's an assumption, but people look at rich people with disdain. A lot of people, especially on the left, look at people that are rich with disdain because they didn't earn it, right? And there's this assumption that their lives are great, and to me, there's a lot of people that are born with wealth, right? They're born into money, and their lives are absolute fucking shit.
Oh yeah,
because
they hate it.
They hate it. Their dad didn't love them. Maybe their dad worked all the time or wasn't around, so they gave money to replace the presence of the parent. They have a drug problem or they drink. Like we hear those stories all the time. Those Hollywood kids that grow up, the daughters or sons of rich people, and they fucking just have a coke habit. Like fucking Michael Douglas's kid. Michael Douglas has a son, and all he did was do fucking drugs all the time. I think he went to jail. It's like someone look at him and go, "You have the greatest fucking life, dude. You're Michael Douglas's son." It's like, yeah, but he's got a coke habit. He's a meth head. His life's not that great. His life. You don't want his life. Like, money's not everything. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the privilege that we're talking about. But again, white privilege was just constructed. I mean, this is what it comes down to, dude. All it is Democrats need to control a certain section of the population for votes. That's it. Without the black population, Democrats would never win an election ever because the numbers aren't there for them. And what they do is they create the boogeyman, which is white supremacy and white privilege, and every conservative person's a racist. And then when everything goes bad, especially in an election year like 2020, they will whip up the whole race thing as a means to turn out votes for their side, right? That's what it's all about. Because if they genuinely cared about like what they're talking about, like Black Lives Matter, if they genuinely, deeply, deeply cared about the plight of young boys and girls growing up and making the best of their lives before they get into the system, so to speak, they would be going, we need to figure out how can we get more fathers back in the home?
Oh, for sure. Broken homes galore.
Right. Yeah, well, the single parent rate in the black community is like 75%, which is absolutely, it's so sad because in the 60s, yeah, it is, because in the 60s it was like 25%. So since the 60s it's inverted, and no one talks about that. You can't talk about it because they'll just call you racist, basically.
Oh, totally.
So, but it's like, if you could fix that, if you could drop that 75 down to 50%, 40%, it would be dramatically different. Oh God, it would be amazing. It would be so awesome and then the issue too is, like, I believe last time I read correctly, is that more black children are aborted in the state of New York than born.
Jeez,
and that's another thing that I know. Isn't that mind blowing? Like, no one talks about that. They don't talk about the fact that 75% of black on black murders are unsolved because no one works with the police. And it's like, listen, guys, nobody wants to see murder. We want to catch these bad guys. Work with the police. And these are the issues that they don't talk about. What they'll do is they'll wait for George Floyd, right? Or they'll wait for this guy that just died, unfortunately, in Atlanta, Rashard Brooks, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, see, this is how black people are treated in this country. And it's like, no, that's an anomaly. That's so statistically tiny that this happens that it is not reflective of the larger percentage of interactions with police. But they don't care about that. They just want to use it. They use it to ramp up protests. And of course, the people that have hated this country for a long time use it as a means to tear down statues of Confederate generals and stuff,
and loot like Columbus, fucking Best Buy and Foot Locker.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
Rolexes and shit. Like, makes no sense.
And it makes no sense. And this is the world we live in now. And it's like, but the scary part is you can't even speak to people with facts anymore. Like, having a conversation like we're having. It's rare to have these conversations because
definitely
people are so emotionally invested in their position that it's like, You can present facts and statistics, but they'll just call you a name or they'll try to like denigrate you and stuff. And that's why for me, I will never kneel. Like all these people kneeling in front of other people is just absolutely embarrassing. It's super embarrassing, but
yeah, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance, like people,
that's exactly what
if
it
it's
is.
not their opinion, they get offended, they get upset, they don't want to hear what you tell them, basically, even if it's true,
Exactly. Yeah. Have you watched, for anyone that ends up listening to this, Yuri Bezmenov, go to YouTube, Yuri Bezmenov, defected from the Soviet Union in the 80s or in the late 70s, did an interview, and I think it was 84, 85. It's on YouTube. It's about ideological subversion, all about how the KGB plans to subvert other countries, their enemies. And he made it very clear that the KGB and Russian intelligence, foreign intelligence, does not do all the espionage like the movies. All the fucking just we the way we're gonna do it is in all the different ways in which they're gonna do it, and everything he said in 1985, it's coming true. And it started in colleges, and they produced all these baby boomers that came out of the Vietnam War era that were young and impressionable, were anti-war, and they taught them all about Marxists, communists, and how great it was, and how fucking the USA is shit, and we were, all this other crap. And now we're seeing what comes of that, which is the colleges for now decades has been producing more young minds. Like the fact the New York Times, all these newspapers are so fucking in the tank now. They're basically propaganda outlets that just write propaganda for the Chinese government because they're paid by the Chinese government to run propaganda. We're basically lost. The only way we're going to get it back is if somehow you can reintroduce pro America, not glossing over our history, like all the bad things that happened. Obviously, there were bad things, but it's like there's no way you're going to turn the tide. It's going to take decades, and that's the scary part. And that's why it's incumbent on parents and young people to make sure that the young generations are a little bit more aware of the downfalls of fucking communism. It's like what we're seeing in Seattle is a perfect example, which I hope they let it play out, which is, yeah, the first 2 weeks of the Chaz seems all peaceful right now. Yeah, it's going to get ugly. Because once resources start getting scarce and people start vying for power, who's in control of the Chaz or CHOP or whatever they're calling it now, it's going to get violent.
Oh, for sure.
And then people can sit back and go, this is what happens when you have your little dream utopia. This is what happens. So it's perfect. It's like a little micro petri dish of socialism / communism in Seattle, which I grew up in Washington, and I used to go to Seattle all the time. So seeing this is it's fucking embarrassing, and it actually makes me I just want to give it. I just want to, if I could just give up on Seattle and see it wash away, I would. But to me, it's a completely lost city. It's never going to come back unless something. It's going to take 20 to 30 years for it to come back, I think, though.
Many decades for sure. Yeah, the fucking crazy thing is like with that Chaz thing, like imagine how people got so upset, oh, there's a shortage on toilet paper. Imagine if the city of Seattle fucking flipped the power off and everyone was in the dark. Do you know how crazy it would be?
It would be insane, and they have every right to do that. And honestly, if I were in charge, I would do that. But they're not going to because the mayor of Seattle is a fucking. She supports them basically. So the problem is the weird thing about it is, and this is just underscores the subverted way in which the ideology of communism, and I think it's like basically Satan, it's evil, but it's like it's infected so many different areas of our culture, not just politically, but in media, and especially out of Hollywood. It's just fucking, in music, it's just fucking, for the most part, popular music, pop music, it's fucking horrible. And the problem is when the governor and the mayor basically kind of support what's going on. Basically what they're going to do is they're going to pit themselves versus Trump because they hate Trump so much because he represents everything that they hate. Nothing good's going to come of it unless Trump does what he should do, which is just go, you know what, Seattle, enjoy it, have fun with it. I'm not going to step in. Good. You know what? What we're going to do is we're just going to watch and see how this plays out. And to me, the problem though is that no one's talking about the rights of those people living within the Chaz that didn't want this to happen, right? Because there's businesses, and there's people live in apartments, right, inside the Chaz, that they just want to be able to come, go to work, come home, like live their normal life, but they never asked for these fucking, whatever you want to call them, protesters, Antifa, whatever.
Gen
They
Z.
didn't. Yeah. Like they didn't want them to come in and fucking shut down the area and turn it into basically a commune. Like nobody. They didn't want that. Where were their rights? Why are their rights not as important as the rights of the people to take the Chaz? So that's the hypocrisy that you kind of brought up. The double standard is like this is the line of thinking is they don't even think that far. You can't even present that idea to them, I bet, because they wouldn't even be able to understand nuance of like, you realize what you're doing is exactly what you rail against when you speak about Republicans or whatever, like add your enemy, whoever they want to point out and yell at, So I just sit back and watch it and go, fucking fascinating. This is just going to be crazy. I'm just not very optimistic. I mean, we'll see what happens once the election gets around, but I think it's going to get uglier. It's going to get way uglier.
It's gonna, November. Dude, it's going to get like the fucking wild, wild west. My pop has been talking. I mean, he grew up like, in high school back in the day. They had cadet corps and they had an armory. Mm-hmm. This is back when you could have guns in school for the cadet corps and stuff like that. So he's been around guns his whole life and stuff, but he's never owned any. And fucking last weekend I rode with him and we went and got him a 357 Magnum. Like it's getting to that point. Like he actually cracked down. He's like, "Yeah, we'll keep it up and locked up and stuff for just in case. He's not going to carry it on him or anything like that." Cause he's got a wild style temper. He'd probably shoot somebody. But
well, it's what I've said is these rioters and looters can stay in the cities all they want. Don't come to the suburbs, guys. Trust me. Don't come to the suburbs.
That's what they were talking about in some cities. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go to the suburbs where the rich people are.
Oh man, they don't like. One thing that's funny is about I think white people have really long fuses, so to speak. Well, a lot of them do. We just sit back and go, again, live your life, man. Say whatever you want. Burn the fucking flag. Whatever you want to do, man. You have that right in this amazing country. Do you? Just stay the fuck away from me. But the moment you start coming in, the moment you put me in a position where I have to make a move, it's really ugly.
Oh yeah.
We don't want that. That's the thing. That's the funny part. No, we're not looking for a fight here. Again, it's like we believe in free elections. We believe in treating people fairly. We all have our inherent biases from our experiences of growing up. We all have had experiences of getting in fights, fucking dealing with people, whatever. So we all have our own little perspectives. But it's like, in general, I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone, and we're good. And if we get along on other grounds, great. We'll hang out and, chill. But it's like, don't come to the suburbs, guys. Because if you do, you're going to get your fucking ass kicked. And nobody wants bloodshed. And that's why I'm not worried about, like, civil war. People talk about civil war. Oh, Hey, listen, it's not going to get to that point unless they move to the suburbs. Then you got problems. Then it's going to get out of control because I'm not a city person anyway. I'll never go to the city. I have no interest in cities, and definitely not now. Like,
yeah, those days are over.
You couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me to go hang out in Washington, D.C. Like, I want to be able to take my kids to D.C. one day and show them the monuments. Well, what's that going to look like in 10 years? I don't know. If they had their way, there'd be no Lincoln Memorial. There'd be no fucking Washington. Jefferson would be gone. Fucking the World War II Memorial got defaced, right?
Fuck it, let's take down Iwo Jima too. That was wrong too.
Let's do it, yeah. Like that. Well, that's what they would do. They would take down everything, but what would they replace it with? And that's what I understand. It's like, what's the history of our country? So I don't know. The whole thing is, let's talk about cars though, man. We can talk about cars and shit. And
for sure.
I can bag on Zosh for a while if you want. So I'm just kidding. Shots fired. Shots fired. No. But yeah. So, anyway.
Anyways, fucking I was about that. Fucking I had a question prepared for you. So out of all the chassis, all the cars you've owned, I mean, you've had a lot. I mean, for anybody that doesn't watch your channel or haven't seen, the many reincarnations of your channel, I mean, you've owned DC5, you've owned DC2 Type R, you've owned you had an MR2 Spider at one point, I think. You had
MR2 Spider. Yeah. I had an FA5 Civic Si Mugen or Mugen, whatever I call it, Mugen. I had a Mazda Speed 3, a Mazda Speed 6, a GTI Mark 6 GTI. I can't remember. The thing sucked. And then I had my first car, an EK Civic. That's my first car, and then that was back in high school / right out of high school, and then my first car I bought when I was in the service was a SVT Focus, Ford Focus SVT 2004. So
mini makes,
had a
mini
lot.
chassis.
I've had a lot of cars, and then I had, of course, yeah, the DC2 is most recent, and now I have a wagon, a station wagon. But yeah, my wife complains all the time that I've gone through so many cars. So, and I too think it's I don't know if it's an addiction or compulsion. Not good. It's not healthy either way, but it's something that I'm dealing with right now.
It's a good outlet. It's definitely a money pit, but
It's a money pit, yeah, and I
it's better
justified
than a
that to
coke
her.
habit.
Yeah, well, that's what I told her. I said, this is my habit, and I could be a golfer, for example, that spends a ridiculous amount of money on green fees or, whatever, right? Shoot, there's other ways you can find ways to spend money. So
Definitely.
for me, it was cars. Now it's less about cars. Although I have urges, right? But your question was which one's was my favorite?
Yeah, like
If
you had to pick one chassis, like one car you own, what do you think the one that probably like resonates, like, you felt like, was the driving experience for you or something like
the
that.
DC5 was probably, I if I go back, like I have good moments, and my Focus SVT was great for what it was. The GTI I thought was unremarkable. It was a DSG, so it had the direct shift gearbox, and that was just it was just terrible. I just was so bored with it. I liked both my Mazdas. I like Mazda as a company. I thought the 6 was good. It's clutty from the factory when the gearbox is tough to shift, but it was okay. It was my wife really liked that car, but Speed 3 was also a really nice power, cool car from the factory. Felt a little heavy. My favorite of all of them, I think, when it comes to tuning it and then driving it and the sound and the experience, yeah, it was definitely the DC5 for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because driving it on the mountain was, once you got the limited slip in there, everything changes.
Oh, definitely.
And when you finally have that extra grip, it completely changes the vehicle. And then, of course, being able to drive it on the mountain and having the sounds off the canyon walls, and that it was the best. I think that's what I'm trying to recreate now when I'm thinking about another project car one day. Is like I want to try to recapture that feeling. But I was most disappointed in the DC2 Type R, though. I fucking hated that car. Now, in hindsight, I hate that car, and yeah, it fucking was terrible. I fucking hated it.
But bro,
fucking hated
double wishbone.
yeah. Well, it's funny. It's not the car's fault per se. It's my own. It's my own fault for rushing to buy that specific one. I think.
Right.
It literally fought me at every moment, and if there was any car to kill my desire to work on car, it actually honestly did. I think it broke me emotionally to work with that car, because it was just so difficult because of the rust. Not the rust, the body rust on the body panels, but just like the C's bolts and stuff, and everything broke, and the bushings. Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was a truly a nightmare. And it makes me appreciate those guys that are grinding away on the East Coast or in the salt, any area where they lay salt on the roads and stuff, and you're dealing with that type of rust. Like I think of Flying Gato. I think he has that WRX he has.
Oh man,
I remember seeing
that thing takes the cake.
Oh my god! I watched when I saw the video of him with the rust underneath it. I was fucking wanting to throw up. And it's funny because that was before I got my Type R. I got my Type R and I dealt with it. And then Mighty Car Mods, Artie just got what car was he working on? He got an MR2 from Japan, I think. Or no, it was a Japanese import, but he bought it from a secondhand guy in Australia. And every bolt he worked on that car fucking broke or had a problem. And I remember his face when he was working on it, and I just was like, I totally understood exactly how he felt. And it just kills. It saps every, because you begin to start wondering what you're doing. You're like, why the fuck am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I spending, to me, a rear suspension install to take 30 minutes? Like, if you know what you're doing, like, usually there's 2 or 3 top bolts. Maybe they're 12 to 14 mil. You got a bottom bolt. Maybe it's a 17. Not that complicated. When it takes you 2 weeks because you're cutting through metal and you're having to deal with shit and get like, at some point you go, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is not fun anymore. So I fucking hated that DC2, and I never want to see one again. I never want to even look at it again. So
And you had like you had problems with the fucking the paint and body work. Like you had the guy that was like
oh
kind of
god,
flaking
yeah,
on you and stuff like that.
dude. He was a meth. I think he was a meth addict. Um, yeah, that's it's funny because I'm a Christian, so I think God sends me messaging in certain ways, and basically the entire ownership of that car was God's way of saying, "You're fucking done, dude. Stop." Like and I ignored him, right? I ignored the red flags. But I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And I just kept pushing. And yeah, his name was Greg, and it's terrible, terrible. And then even before I met Greg, though, I got hit by the deer, right?
Yeah,
So
for
like,
real.
I get the car. It's a pain in my ass. I finally get it roadworthy. I finally get it ready to go up the mountain. 3 or 4 turns in, I get hit by a deer, and then I go to the body shop. So that's in the body shop for 3 months, way longer than it should have been, right?
Damn, was it really 3 months? Holy shit.
It was a while. The guy was fucking on drugs. So he's on drugs, right?
He was like
Um,
dodging your calls and shit.
yeah, dodging my calls. The worst part was he had kids, right? And I remember one night, near the end of the job, I went over to the shop, and he had been evicted from his fucking apartment or house or whatever, and his kids and him were living in the fucking shop.
Jeez.
And seeing this like 5-year-old kid, I have like a 3-year-old at the time or 4-year-old at the time. No, I think my son was probably actually older than that. He's probably the same age. Was brutal. This kid's done nothing wrong, He's just a kid, and his dad is in the fucking bathroom for 45 minutes. Comes out, looks like he just fucking took a rip or something. A fucking some brown fucking probably heroin or meth. I don't know. And the kid is just, and I'm just thinking to myself, what the fuck? I can't do anything about it, And I was trying to be sympathetic to him, and I told him actually. I think my last final text to him was something akin to like, "You did good work, dude, but you really need to get your shit together, and like, I wish you the best in the future, but man, I can't. Like, I'm fucking done. Like, I'm never gonna fucking deal with you again. Basically, refer anybody to you.
Wise
it
up.
Sucks, but yeah, man, DC5 was the one. I liked the FA5 though. The Mugen was really good. I had a different part of my life, and we lived in a town where I was just commuting to. I only had it to commute back and forth to work, so I didn't have it on the mountain, for example. Mm-hmm. If I had it on the mountain, I think it would have been a totally different car. So timing is everything, with life. Like,
definitely.
If I had certain cars now, as opposed to when I was back in San Antonio or wherever I was before, my perspective on them would be much different. But is the DC5 I mean, not the one you have with Stacy, obviously, was like, is that basically your, I mean, what other cars did you or anything else before those, or is that basically just DC5?
Just DC5s, man. I had that first one for 14 years.
I remember that. Yeah.
Such a track record. I mean, in that car, I'd been to New York, Florida, Chicago, Indiana. I'd been a lot of places. I think the longest drive I ever did in that car was to Chicago, 16 and a half hours. And that was like one of the most brutal drives ever. It makes you really appreciate like when you see these like 24-hour races and stuff like that, these endurance races.
Yeah.
Man, I don't understand how the hell they do that.
It's endurance, bro.
It's endurance.
It's fun. Yeah, well, it's good because road trips really let you get out. You really appreciate your cars. That's when you really get to appreciate a car is its ability to get you not to work and back, because that's fucking depends on how far you commute. Like, important, but those long road trips is when you really get to lean into it.
Definitely.
You really create that relationship.
Definitely. But yeah, I don't know. I see another project car in my future, something different, just to challenge myself. Because you work on the same chassis for like 15 years. I mean, you get in that comfort zone. You know what I mean? Because
I do completely.
I don't know what I want to branch to next. Like I want an EK hatch maybe, or an EG or something like that. But you know how it goes with the car scene these days, man. Everybody's doing fucking EK hatches and EGs. It's almost no personality to it anymore.
Yeah, and that's why I just don't. The scene in general just doesn't resonate with me, and I don't even like using the term "the scene" because it sounds fucking gay. It's like the scene, and it's just to me. because Hondas are so accessible at a low price, you're always having the new generation of people kind of getting into it. And with them, they're of course they're young. So they're young and they're stupid, just like I was. So they're gonna ride the fad waves for a while, like Camber Gang, right?
Oh man.
And that's fine. That's fine. I remember I rode the fad about Tesla taillights and underglow and all that shit in the early 2000s and stuff. So I know. I mean, it's not shitting on them. It's just like, for me, you're right. I don't. We kind of talked about this before, which is when I look at this scene, and I use YouTube as my outlet for the scene now because there's nothing in print magazine really anymore for that. Just not a lot there that I give a shit about. Like, I don't give a fuck about. I mean, I like Garage Built Honda stuff, and Young Static obviously is just crushing, and he's a totally different type of guy. What he's doing, and he's doing it the right way. I think he's kind of doing it the way that
that's like the
most
hardest working guy on YouTube, man.
Oh my god, he's got 100,000 subs now, which is so awesome.
Congrats.
I mean, he's at 100,000. Yeah, I mean, I think I started watching when he was around 30 something. I think.
Yeah.
I felt late. I felt late to the party with that.
I think I started watching when he was maybe like 40 or 50, maybe somewhere like that. He's gotten so many subs since then, man.
Because I've been watching deserves
for 2
it.
years.
Yeah, me too. And he deserves it because he's doing he's the actual he's the exact opposite of someone like big money guys, I guess you could call them.
Right.
TJ Hunt and all those gay wads, and because you can kind of tell, for me at least, and I don't know their backstories, but I could assume that a lot of them came from affluence, from money, and it allowed them to get into that YouTube easily because they have money. You can catch people early. If you're starting a channel and you can catch people with high quality content because you have the money to afford good camera gear, you have a car that your parents helped you buy, and you have parts because your parents are helping you pay for it. It's a lot easier to kind of get traction as opposed to people are just grinding on their own and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely.
Me at least, so it's like those guys are they're just doing it now as a business, right? They don't give a shit about I mean, they say they like the cars, and I think they do to some extent. I don't want to discount that on them, but it's like, this feels fucking authentic to me. It's like, I have no interest in watching this.
Yeah, I think of it like it's the contrived factor. You can tell if they're authentic or they're fake, basically.
Well, yeah, they open their mouth and they start talking. You're just like, yeah, I'm good, man. I can punch out now. I don't need to watch this. I mean, just like, is it Godden? I think I watched a TJ Hunt video. I don't know, like a month ago. I think it was about Nismo 370Z, and I was like, oh, I was interested in Nismos for a while, and I was like, I want to watch this video. And then he just talks about all these parts, and he's got his own little shop now with his own cars. He's got his gay clothing line and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm good. And Zosh is going down that same road.
Oh, definitely.
And that's where it's like, but again, they attract a younger demographic. I bet if you looked at their analytics, they'd be dealing with, lower than 24 primarily. If I meet a 35-year-old and he's like, I really like Zosh, Zosh just shits the bomb, I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. I don't like, do you have kids? Are you married? What? Like, who the fuck? What the fuck? And that's why the Honda Street Garage. Yeah. Well, that's what makes the Honda. I get why Mark, I think from HSG, is doing what he's doing from a business standpoint. I totally understand.
Solely from a business standpoint, because I don't get it any other reason.
Right. I personally would never do that. Even from a business standpoint, I have pride, I guess you could say, in who I am. Is I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. Is I would be like, no thanks, I appreciate it, but no thanks. I don't need to do collabs and stuff. Because it's just so fucking boring. It's all about the aesthetics, and to me, the whole point of owning these cars for me is the process of finding the balance in them and appreciating the building and then driving and that experience. And sometimes you can't articulate that so well on YouTube. Those I don't think. But you can't. I mean, but when you watch Static and Garage Built Hondas, I can't remember his name.
John Woodmer.
John Woodmer, yeah. You can fucking tell their passion, dude. They're fucking awesome. They're just, and the quality, they don't want to be, Dana's in front of the camera just to say what's up and stuff, but because he's communicating with you, but it's not about him, right?
It's totally about the builds.
It's about the builds, dude. It's about the education. John Widmer's perfect. Widmer's just because it's all about the education. Like, you just watch that. I learned how to change my ball joints on my DC2 from watching him. I just watched him do it with the tools, and I was like, all right, cool, I know what to do, and I did it, and it was perfect. And that's the people that I appreciate. I don't need to go to YouTube to find personalities. I'm not interested in watching someone's personality and then, oh yeah, they happen to have a DC5 that they got from hybrid racing with free hybrid racing parts. Because at that point, you're just a whore. I mean, let's be honest. That's what you are. Is that you basically are getting paid or compensated to shill product. And yes, it's mutually beneficial because it helps a hybrid push product. It helps Josh with revenue, selling his WAG, right? But for me, at least, I got to believe in something. What do you believe in? What are your principles, dude?
Definitely.
I don't mean to talk shit.
Free stuff.
I'm not trying to talk shit.
I wouldn't even call it talking shit. It's just keeping it real.
Percy's probably a really nice guy. Maybe. I don't know. He seems like a nice guy, but he could be fake. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people put on a smile and an attitude for the YouTubes because they're motivated.
There was one video. He was at some car show and he was like hosting a two-step contest or something like that. And he seemed very like different in the video. He seemed very like not as like turned up to fucking 11. Like with the antics and stuff like that. So it's like.
Oh, I totally believe that. I believe most people like. I think PewDiePie did a really good video one time where he talked about how he has to he was tired of amping it up. Like it exhausts you because I know when I try to record videos. Or when I do actually kind of amp it up a little bit because I generally don't give a fuck about like to be all excited like, hey man, what's up? Hey guys, what's like you have to turn it unless it's your natural personality. Like Honda Pro Jason he literally named his kid Mugen. He's
really I didn't even know.
Yes,
that.
you not yeah. I think it's his middle name is Mugen. I think so. I'm 99.8% sure. If Christian listens to this because he's in business now with Honda Pro, he'll let me know if I'm wrong. But I'm 99% sure he did name his child either middle name or first name is Mugen. Mugen. I think he calls it. I swear to God that's true. It must be because I heard him refer to his kid as Mugen once. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's dedicated.
He is.
This guy
dedicated.
I know, which is crazy because the amount of subs he has is way less than I thought he would. Like, it doesn't seem like Honda gives
120,000 or something.
Honda doesn't give him any love. It seems like I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. Being a consumer advocate, I think, is what he is, or an influencer. I don't know what the term is, but
yeah, he's definitely like a spokesperson, an unofficial spokesperson. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked his content. I think the reason he doesn't have a big subscriber base, I don't think people buy it because I know like. A few of my subscribers, I've mentioned them before. Like, oh, did you guys see the Honda Pro Jason video? And like a couple of them are like, fuck that guy, that corny ass in the know slogan bullshit. Like that guy's not a real Honda head or something like that. And I'm like, I mean, I was like, dude, he's educating us, taking us to fucking Japanese museums and private collections and shit.
I agree with you completely, and I agree with them completely. He's not a Honda head in the sense that people create an idea of what a Honda head should be. He obviously likes Honda. He's not a builder, right?
Right. He's not getting too dirty or nothing like that.
Oh fuck no. He's not like and that's why there's these sub communities that exist within Honda, and that's why it's so funny. I paralleled this. I talked to my wife about this, kind of connecting our first conversation of the night, which was the whole George Floyd thing and race thing. I was like, I'm fascinated. I'm deeply fascinated by the concept within the black community where they say like, I am Trayvon Martin, right? A black guy will say, I saw this in my Air Force Reserve unit. The command chief for the Air Force was a black man, Chief Wright, I think it is. And he put out a letter to the force, right, about what was happening right after George Floyd passed away, he was killed, and he started the entire email with, I am George Floyd, I am Trayvon Martin, I am Michael Brown. And I'm fat, and it makes me think of the Honda community in the sense that just because we drive Hondas does not mean we're the same people, right?
Absolutely.
Just because we share an interest in something like a Honda doesn't mean we're homies or we're going to get along with each other. And the same thing what's fascinating about the black community is like there's this assumption that just because you're black, you can relate to someone, for example, that Michael Brown, for example, that attacked a police officer and then was killed because of his trying to grab a cop's gun. Like, what makes you like him other than the fact that you have the same skin color? That fascinates me, that there's this idea that we just share deep connection for what I would argue would be fairly superficial. Like, skin color is superficial. My car's choice, superficial. What makes me me is nothing to do with those, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why the Honda community is interesting, because it's like, yo, bro, it's like we're Honda heads. Like, no. Listen, there's certain type of people. There's certain type of people in the Honda community, and there's different cliques and breakdowns. And it'd be fun to sit around and try to break them down one night and like try to describe, just kind of like the animal kingdom and stuff and genome of the species charts.
Yeah.
We've done the different species of Honda people, but I'm more definitely in the camp of Static and Widmer and you and I like interested in is finding balance in the car, learning more about myself through the process, and just enjoying the experience of driving, right? And then trying to find those moments in time where sound and feel and smell and sight is fucking perfect. And those very rarely happen. They have happened. Those are the fun part. Those are the moments that I look forward to. I could not give a shit about clout and fucking, yo, bro, what's your fucking core? Like, what? Who gives a shit? Like, you know, when they talk about part select, like I love talking about part selection because I'm more fascinated about how someone decides on what they pick, right? Not that they choose Godspeed coilovers versus Pine fucking D whatever. I want to know how you got to that decision. And maybe it's simply I just couldn't afford it. Okay, that's fine. I totally respect that. Maybe it's, hey man, I want a certain spring rate and I was worried about this and I thought about this and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's we can play with that, you know? That's the fun part, but the YouTube community is just, I don't know. It's all about it's odd because it's all about getting it's the desire for money and attention and wanting to become known. And yeah, it's not, yeah. No thanks.
Yeah, my mission, like when I started it, like shit. I mean, I've always had a YouTube like account. So like if you look at my thing, it's like join 2008
Yep.
or some crazy
Yeah,
shit. Back when
yeah.
YouTube started, back when I was in high school. But I started the channel like 2.5, almost 3 years ago, and
Right.
I never thought to myself like, oh man, I want to blow up and make money. It was always about like, I just want to make a DC5 channel and just like help other people out because some of this shit's confusing.
That's exactly why I initially started mine when I had my Mazda Speed 3. And it was for that exact reason, which was I had questions. I couldn't get answers because content for the Mazda Speed 3 really wasn't. Fuck it. I'll just try to. And yeah, you just kind of try it and see what works and what doesn't. And then you can try to care more about editing or not. I'm really impressed with your thumbnail game is really solid right now. Like,
Oh, with the streams.
fuck yeah, dude! Like the clips of movies, and then you enter the captions and stuff.
Good old
Fucking
script.
hilarious.
Good old screenshot and a speech
Yeah,
bubble.
dude. That's funny though because because if you do it right with context and stuff, and you pick the right photo from the right movie with the right reference or whatever, and oh man, it's fucking genius. So, again, it's like people like for me, my right now, my goal with my YouTube channel is I have literally this is how it works. Is I have 5 minutes of ultra high def I can record on my phone at a time, 5-minute chunks. I will never make a video over 5 minutes long. Like that's it.
What phone are you on?
Samsung S9. I'm on S9 right now.
Is it recording in 1080 or 4K?
4K.
Nice.
So I could drop it to 1080 and I could make it longer, obviously. But I'm only recording on my phone. I'm not doing any sort of like setup with cameras. I'm too lazy to do it. I don't want to do any editing. That's why you'll never see graphics. I just don't care. And
that's a good format though. I remember back when before I got all the camera equipment. I mean, one of my subscribers sent me a Sony A6300 in trade for some DC5R parts. So it was a good trade. But dude, like 2 years ago, man, iPhone 5S, set it up in the car. You maybe 1080, you can record for like 15, 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
upload the shit, get it in one take and no editing required, no background music or nothing. Like
Right.
that was a good format, Had a lot of drive-in vlogs that were awesome like that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because again, it depends on who you're going for. Well, number one, it's like, yeah, it's like, what audience are you trying to reach? Like, if I really wanted to if I wanted to be big, I could fucking take the time to do all this fucking camera setup and then spend the time away from my family to sit in my office and fucking do thumbnails and do fucking intro graphics. Now, I don't want to hate on people that do intro graphics. Like Christian's graphic game right now and his fucking shit is awesome. Like,
oh, for sure.
I don't know. I'm always curious how if he makes that or did he pay somebody to do that for him? It fucking looks awesome.
So
it's like, that's awesome. Like that, I would fucking probably pay him to do. I mean, maybe I could pay him to do graphic if I wanted to do that.
He's offering that right now, actually.
Is he?
Yeah, I thought about hitting him up because he's doing that shit through the Adobe suite. Like he's actually using this thing called, I think, After Effects. And
oh shit.
I have After Effects. I literally have the whole, it's the fucked up thing is, remember like back in the day you buy a computer program and you own it forever, right?
Yeah, now it's like licensing and
it's
shit.
all fucking subscription based. You got to pay by the month. Like that shit.
It's called software as a service. Mm-hmm. That's everything new now. Platform as a service, software as a service. That's all it's about.
So fucked.
Monetization. Yeah, what would be cool is like a creepy Dead Spirits fucking graphic or intro would be fucking creepy with some fucking ghoulish sounds and some engines revving. I don't know. You could do some crazy shit. Like that sounds fucking cool because, but for me, I'm just lazy. It's like I just value my time is valuable because when you have a family, it's like I gotta fit this fucking video in somewhere in my day, right? So I give myself fucking 5 minutes. I can escape from my children for 5 minutes, and knock out a video, immediately upload it from my phone to YouTube, and I'm done. I can go back to my life. Wouldn't mean I had a really good, I'll float this idea by you. I thought I had an idea for my son and I, because my son's fucking, he's 8 years old, so he's infatuated with YouTube right now. I don't let him watch it, but he has this idea where he wants to be a YouTube star, which makes me want to throw up. But
I feel you.
But being the capitalist that I am, I do recognize that there is money to be made on YouTube, and for some reason, kids' videos can make fucking. There's a fucking bunch of dumbass kids on YouTube. So,
fuck. What's that one kid, man? He has like
he just opens fucking shit up, right? You talking about that kid?
Yeah,
I don't know his
fucking.
name.
Somebody sent me one of his videos. You're like, you see how much fucking views this kid's got? It's like 4 billion or something. So then I was in Best Buy.
Half of them are probably pedophiles. That's the scary part.
That's That's fucked.
that's the scary part is that you don't know who's like. I would be very. That's why I'm always afraid to put my kids out on the fucking internet.
But that fucking kid, he's got like endorsements, man. He's got like.
Dude.
I was in Best Buy. I was picking up like. I don't even remember what I was picking up like a spare controller for my fucking PlayStation or something, and I was at the cash register. And I see like, they got the little like, flashlights and, shit up front, on the cashier's desk or whatever.
Does he have some licensed merch?
He has fucking licensed merch. He's got like a candy egg that you can open up and it's got like, a fucking USB thumbstick and candy and stickers and shit in it. And like, dude, this kid's like 6 years old. He's worth like fucking $40 million.
Do you know how broken he's going to be at 14 though? Not broken like financially, but I can't like child stars don't end well. It doesn't usually.
They really
well.
don't.
Oh man,
Macaulay
and that's
Culkin.
why. Yeah, well, he's actually kind of turned out to be. I don't know if he's normal, but he seems kind of normal for me. I mean, he was super famous.
He looks like he's like aged. Like he looks like he's like 50 or
something. He's definitely lived quite the life, I would assume.
Oh, for sure.
All the mysteries of him and Michael Jackson. Rest in peace, MJ. But I mean, you never know what happened there. You know,
those fucking documentaries scarred me. Bro.
I didn't watch them, dude. I didn't watch them. I refuse to.
Yeah, I don't blame.
I want to live like what's the guy's name in fucking Cypher in Matrix, right?
Right.
I'd rather live in ignorance, Michael Jackson's indiscretions. Right. I'm never gonna tell my children about Michael Jackson's indiscretions.
Man,
they love his music videos. I'm not gonna do that. But what I was saying is, so I was thinking to myself, I'm going to start a YouTube video with my son. We're going to do and I think this is actually going to be really fucking funny. And so the idea is I was going to call the channel Childish Arguments. It's available, number one. Number two, the idea is that my son and I are going to sit at my bar right here, and we're going to You can buy these koozies that go over Coke cans, but it looks like a Budweiser can,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a Budweiser koozie. I'm gonna wrap his soda in a Budweiser koozie, and I'm gonna have a beer or some liquor, some Maker's Mark or something. So it's gonna look like we're sitting in a bar together, and he's drinking a beer, but he's not really drinking beer. And we're gonna have a conversation about a childish topic like Halo. Like what's your favorite Halo? And so the idea, the whole humor of it's going to be the mind of an 8-year-old, which is my son, versus my mind of a 38-year-old. The idea though is that we're drinking at a bar, although it's not really alcohol. It is for me, so I'm getting drunk. My son is sober, and then we'll have a conversation for 5 minutes about Halo. So, or like any other topic, like I can do more like educational topics where we can talk about like fiat currency or something. Like we can see what his reaction is to fiat currency, and the idea is like, well, kids will watch it because it's about childish shit, right? And it's an 8-year-old talking about Halo, and they like Halo or whatever, or about Fortnite one night or whatever, like stupid stuff. But then the parents will watch it because I'm going to try to drop pearls of wisdom while we're talking. So I was like, I could do that. It takes me like 10 minutes to record that. Maybe we can edit it for like 5 minutes. Just fucking upload that. And maybe I can make $1 million.
Dude, I think that'd be a good scenario, like a good setup. That sounds like a fucking good setup. I think people would watch that. I'd watch
I
it.
think so. If you keep it for 5 minutes or less, just short, like 5-minute conversation on which Ninja Turtle was the most badass or whatever. So just something completely asinine and childish, but within me discussing which Ninja Turtle was the best, I can talk about the importance of each turtle's characteristic. Leonardo is the leader, and fucking Donatello is the the smart guy, and how they all played off each other, and the whole moral was like they're a team, and like I can use that as an opportunity to educate my son, but then he can say dumb things that 8-year-olds say that make you laugh and go, man, fucking 8-year-olds.
Michelangelo eats pizza.
Exactly. Cowabunga, dude. Like what? Which one's your favorite, Noel? I love pepperoni pizza, so I really like Michelangelo, and I'm gonna sit there and stare at him like, okay, like, all right then, okay, I like April O'Neil. He's my favorite, like whatever. But anyway.
Sounds like an outlet though, man. That'd be fun, dude. I bet yeah, like you said, fucking Fortnite, dude. Oh my god, that'd be a video that would blow
Well, because
up.
I would rail on Fortnite.
Exactly.
I would rail on it, and he would be like, I love it because of blah blah blah, and I'll be like, it's a it's a money making scheme to convince kids to buy skins, right, son? What, Dad? Okay, this is how it works. Is they're looking for whales. They're looking for whales and parents with credit cards.
Have you ever?
That's all this is.
Have you ever seen these fucking videos of these kids that steal their parents' credit card and they'll buy like, I'm talking a couple $100 of these fucking V-Bucks, the game currency. I saw this video of this Spanish mom. She gets her credit card statement. She goes in, goes in her kid's room, and like he's got his camera on, and for some reason, like I think like they heard him like mom was yelling, so like he turned the camera on. He's like, "Oh shit, my mom's yelling at me." And his cousin's in the room filming it, and she comes in and she is literally like, "What is this? Epic Games, $300 with my credit card, my hard-earned money." She takes a fucking baseball bat to his console. She got upset. I would too, man. That game is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. But he keeps talking about wanting to play it, and he's never played it. I think he's only played it once, but he'll never play it in my house, basically. But it's like, I keep telling him because he's fascinated with video games. Brain is just so wired for him, and it's like all he wants to do is talk about video games nonstop, 24/7. It's like, bro, Fortnite's. I tell him all the time, Fortnite's stupid, man. Like there's no story. There's nothing. You're just going around shooting people and building shit. Like you want to play some real games?
In the sky.
Yeah. I'm like, go play Final Fantasy 7, man. Go play Final Fantasy 9. Read this. But the problem is he doesn't want to read this. He doesn't want to read the text.
Right.
He just wants to play through. And I'm like, dude, you got to read it. Role playing game, dude.
Definitely.
Going on with Cloud.
Yeah, I think like games like like RPGs, like you said, like Final Fantasy or like Skyrim or fucking
Skyrim,
any of that stuff, man. Like it's so rewarding. Like it's a whole story. I mean, fucking in 2 days, The Last of Us 2 comes out. I'm so excited for that
Are you
game.
excited about that?
I really am.
Yeah, I'm
Fuck.
conflicted. I'm conflicted because I've heard a lot of the leaks came out, and I heard about the leaks and
I
I
was actually kind of happy the leaks came out because
yeah,
they pushed it back. They gave an initial release date of like May, I think, or something like that. It was
that's
like
right.
May
Yeah, the
29th.
COVID hit or something like that.
So
Yeah,
then COVID hit, and then they said, "Oh, we do not know when it's coming out." So then
yeah, I remember that.
that disgruntled developer was like, "You know what? Fuck y'all.
Fuck you.
You didn't pay me my paycheck. So you know what? I'm gonna shit in y'all's cereal, and I'm gonna leak all this stuff." And it got the ball rolling. You know what I mean? Because it's coming out
Yeah.
in 2 days. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
do you think so? Do you think the release came out because of that leak? They
oh,
pushed it.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Because basically, like,
Uh,
if so many people saw it, and a lot of people were like, treating it like, oh, don't want to open up Pandora's box. I don't want to see it because it'll give away the game. It really didn't give away that much, like, you
Well,
know,
Joel dies. I mean, that's all I knew,
yeah,
right? That was the
yeah.
big thing was he got killed, but he was. I mean,
You knew he was
and
gonna die eventually,
well, the nature and the way he died, I think, is what people are upset about. I think how cheaply it's. I think some people assumed it was. The problem is, yeah, we can talk about the leaks are one thing, and then you play it in context, and it may be something completely different. And I I may play it eventually when on the PlayStation 5 when that comes out. My son has been talking about that, but um, the first one was great. The first one was I thought was really good.
Oh,
It was great.
definitely.
I cried within the first 5 minutes. I think because of
Yeah,
the kid when the
the
daughter got shot.
daughter gets
Yeah,
shot.
'cause
Yeah.
I just had my kid. And I was watching it. I'm like, holy fuck! Like emotionally, I was all fucked up, and I was like, this is fucking unreal. And then the gameplay itself is whatever. Like it's like Uncharted. It's like there's certain gameplay mechanics that we've played them for decades now. Like that you can refine them to some extent, but you're not innovating anymore. I don't think so personally.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
where the innovation comes in is storytelling and the story, and that's why I really do like the types of games like Last of Us is because the one player game isn't dead on a lot of people. Like I think EA came out and said the one player experience is dead, which is fucking a farce. But yeah, I don't know. I think I want to play the Final Fantasy VII remake as well. But I only have my Xbox right now, so I think I'm gonna wait for the PS5 to come out, and I think I
Yeah,
could go back and play Last of Us 2 and 7
definitely.
remake, and then Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out. But I don't know if I'm gonna get into that. I don't think I have the time to.
Yeah, I thought the trailer for it looks really impressive. I just wonder if
It does.
the game will actually
Yeah.
live up to it. But yeah, I
Yeah, I
liked it.
think.
I liked the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, I did too. And for me, as I get older, I need more direction. I need more hand holding. I know it sounds gay, but it's like open world games are great in terms of their technical capability and the options they give the player. I think to go do and live how like Red Dead Redemption 2 and shit, and other ones like GTA 5 and Witcher 3 and stuff. And it gives you the ability to go out and kind of do whatever you want and experience it in every. Which is weird though, because I'll make a correction in a moment. But for me, I like a little more direction. Like, hey, not necessarily like streamlined, like you can't go anywhere else, but like at least push me in some sort of through the narrative, or just outright telling me like, okay, now you need to go fucking here, because I'll get lost, I'll get bored, and I'll be like, what do I do next?
Right,
What's the next
right.
mission I've got to do? But Skyrim never did that to me.
Yeah,
Skyrim was weird.
Skyrim keeps you on pace. It's kind of
Oh,
like
dude.
A to
Oh
B,
my
A to B.
god.
Talk to this person, pick this up. You
But
got to go
even
here.
then, there's never been a game where I turned it on and I looked at the map and I said, I'm just going to walk in that direction and we're going to see what we find. I'll find some fucking witches and some vampires. I'm going to fuck them up. Like I never wanted, in most games, GTA 5, I was never like, I'm just going to go explore the city. I mean, I did every now and then, but I think the fantasy setting of Skyrim, it's like Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and
Some
shit.
Middle
Like
Earth shit.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. It's like there's something about that milieu that you're like, I can see myself, like I want to go fucking be that guy. Or I was a Nordic assassin female, so that was my player. But like I'd be like, I'm just gonna go in this direction until I reach the end of the earth or the map, and we'll just fucking see what we find. And it was so fun to find a new cave or a fucking stronghold to fuck up and bandits and shit. And like that game was, I mean, unreal. I put so many hours into that. It's disgusting. Oh,
Yeah, I think about like I never the funny thing is I never played the first person on PS3 like Skyrim, but I played Elder Scrolls Online when it came out on
oh, totally. Yeah,
PS4. And
yeah,
like you said,
yeah.
you wanna fucking take a shower after you look at how many hours you've played on that game. I mean, I played that game for
Oh,
I think I played that game for damn near every day for like probably 9 or 10 months because we had like a big faction of people all rolling together and stuff and
oh, that's cool.
dude. Some video game experiences like that for me, like with the new, it's not just you by yourself in your house and it's just a first person experience. Like you got like, you're meeting people
Right.
online, you're building like, these little
Yeah,
kind of online friendships. It's kind of like YouTube, you know what I mean? Like
totally. Yeah,
something along those lines. But yeah, video games have just
yeah. No, I agree.
when you think back to like imagine like PS1 Gran Turismo days back in the day, like
Yes,
you're only doing it
yes.
by yourself. Like video games have come a long way in a good way, but like, like we said with like the Fortnite shit and digital, downloadable content, pay to
Right.
play, you got to buy
Yeah,
skins, you got to buy stupid
yeah,
shit like
yeah.
it's just gone in like in a really bad way. It's all just about money making capitalism. It sucks.
That's no, you're right, and it's funny because you ever remember the store's Funko Land? You ever remember Funko Land?
Funko Land.
That
I
name?
do remember Funko Land.
I used to work at Funko Land.
Oh,
That was
really?
before it became GameStop. When it got bought out by Funko Land existed, and then we got bought out by when I used to work there. I think it was Electronics Boutique, which was owned by Barnes and Noble.
Oh, okay.
Who owned Babbage's. I think Babbage's is the other version. And yeah, they bought it out and they turned the name to GameStop and stuff. Then I left before they turned the name. But yeah, you're right. I mean, working in the store was like games were exciting. It was different. The internet was there and you could do online stuff. But to me, couch co-op was awesome. Like couch co-op is dead now. Like they don't make games to do couch co-op anymore. It's all about online, which is fine. I do agree with you completely. I mean, I used to play like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, GRA, online with some dudes or FIFA, and get your team going and stuff like that. And fucking amazing what technology does, and what it allows us to do. But you're right. The devil in the details is the only big issue. Well, every economic system has its issues. Capitalism's not without its problems, and that is greed, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking ruins things, and that's why yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, the digital downloads, digital rights management, fucking, the chasing a buck. It's that, and that's why I don't play games much anymore. I just don't find the games to be. I mean, Last of Us 2 would be a game that I would want to play, but my fear, Naughty Dog is really good. And Uncharted series is just fucking like top notch. It's high quality,
Oh, it's up there.
amazing. I mean, it's probably arguably one of the greatest franchises in terms of storytelling and quality of gameplay and graphics and just fucking just voice acting and shit. Just Halo's good, but Halo's a totally different style. Like it's fucking up. It's up there. So Naughty Dog. I mean, Last of Us 2. But when I saw the previews for it, I just kind of Ellie as a character was not. I didn't like her particularly. I guess I like Joel, like the dad. So if this new one is more about her and vengeance, is what it sounds like, her just fucking people up. I don't know. I'm kind of worried how I'm gonna feel if I play that game.
I feel
If
you.
I don't connect, if I don't connect with her, I'm like, I don't understand your motivation, Ellie. Like, just can't get into this anymore. And I also am worried that my cynicism towards society in general right now is going to influence my ability to enjoy it. Whether or not I see things, because everything nowadays is propaganda. Like they're going to inject some social. There's going to be some commentary. There always is. As long as it's not handed, it's okay because it makes sense if it's within context. But a lot of people are just super heavy-handed with it now. Like, dude, shut the. We don't need to be preached to. Please, God,
Well, that's
get
something
out of my games.
that's fucking something I read. I don't know if it's true or not. With the internet, you never know what the fuck's true anymore. But I read this post on this fucking gaming site that said that 90% of the developers on Naughty Dog fucking quit and it has to do with that they don't believe the whoever has the final say in, like, the dialogue and what they say in the game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Basically, they injected some type of, like, either left or right
Yeah.
propaganda in the game dialogue, and they don't agree
Well,
with it.
yeah, that's my biggest concern. I know Ellie's gay, which I don't care. Okay, nobody gives a shit, right? Like, but again, it all depends on how does that, the fact that she likes to be with chicks, how does that play out, and what role does that, like, to me, like, again, it's like the argument you hear all the time, which is, well, that movie didn't do good because it has a female lead in it, and
Hmm.
men aren't ready to support female. It's like, that's bullshit. Because if you remember, Wonder Woman was fucking awesome, and so was Alien. Remember Alien, guys?
Oh
Remember
yeah,
Alien? Sigourney
that's
Weaver was fucking epic and awesome, and I remember Terminator with Linda Hamilton. She was fucking badass.
fucking OG
Like,
Terminator.
right? Oh yeah, like men have no problem with women in action roles. What we have a problem with is when shitty, and when you dumb it down or you try to make some commentary. Like, that's not real. Like, we're not idiots. Like, and that's why with Last of Us 2, the leaks made me go like, I don't know. Sounds like it could be infected with fucking political shit. But then you read some reviews and you go, oh, well, the reviews say it's good, but then you have to think about, well, who's writing those reviews, right?
Exactly. What
What
does it even
what's
mean?
well, when IGN writes a review and says this game's fucking amazing, it's 10 out of 10, I'm a little concerned. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're kind of
they put
they're
out an
shills.
email today and
Yeah.
posted the fucking Metacritic score and the fucking gamer 10 out of 10 score. It got a
Well,
fucking perfect 10 and it got a 96 Metacritic. So, yeah.
what's
What does
yeah,
that
that
even mean?
what I care about is when I hear people actually, like, normal normies, when us normies play it and go, yeah, it's okay. The gameplay mechanics are still the same as normal, and yeah, the storyline's pretty good, but there's some issues here. It's like, okay, cool. Let's all make it out to be some type of fucking genre fucking redefining, or this is the new
Paved the way.
decade. Yeah, like, shut the fuck up. All right, it's about a girl who her lover gets killed or whatever, dies, and she's angry. She goes and kills some shit. Okay, what? Oh,
Telling it
we've been
like it
there and we've done
is.
that. Have you not watched The Walking Dead? I mean, for fuck's sake, dude. Like, Walking Dead's been on forever. We know about Lost and fucking. I mean, that show has been like, it's the same thing. It's like, we get it. We've been here. We've done it. Like,
Yeah,
were
there's
you were you a fan of the Metal Gear Solid series, dude?
yeah.
You were a fan of Metal Gear is my favorite of all time. Like, Metal Gear Solid is like, I mean, it's like it's on a fucking other level. But the fifth, did you ever play the fifth one though? Guns of the, or what are they
Yeah,
called?
they released that I don't know if it
Phantom
was
Pain.
I don't know if it was a fucking remaster or not, but they had the fifth one on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, they
I
had
think they
it.
gave it away for free if you're
Yeah, they gave it. It's free on Xbox Game
mhm.
Pass right now.
Yeah, I
It is.
definitely
Have you
played
played
it.
it?
Yeah, definitely downloaded and played it. All the free games I
Oh,
always make, even if it's something stupid, like just
yeah.
something fucking stupid. You never know what you're gonna do in the future. Somebody might want to buy my account or something. I have 7,000 games.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I hated this fifth one. I was so upset, and
I didn't
yeah,
play it
I
too
was.
much. I definitely didn't go all the way
It
through it or
Trust me,
anything.
yeah, I didn't either. I didn't either, dude. It killed me because the storyline was it. Because again, they actually, this is a perfect example. Like, they went open world, and it was a really shitty attempt at open world. And the whole point of Metal Gear Solid was narrative and story driven, right? Which
Hmm.
was the main complaint of a lot of people, which was, hey, there's more cutscenes than there's gameplay. But I was okay with that because I liked the fucking scenes, and I liked the game. I liked everything as it was packaged. Uh, yeah, the fifth one was like, it was just fucking personalityless. It was like empty, and yeah, and that's my fear is, games, you know, graphics are certainly getting better. There's stuff about that, but the gameplay is not changing. Like, nothing's changing anymore.
And
It's like
if it's
smartphones, man.
changing, it's changing for the worse, man.
Oh
I
yeah,
was so fucking let down. I was so excited for when PlayStation 4
yeah.
released
Which one?
Gran Turismo Sport, right? And I was like, oh
Oh,
man,
okay,
this is
yeah,
gonna be
dude.
next
I'm
level.
done. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking,
No, it's not.
you remember the fucking old format? You do the time trials of the races and stuff, and you'd get money, and then you'd get
Yeah,
parts, and you would upgrade the car. Yeah,
that's it.
that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I know. I heard 7 with the PS5. They just showed 7, and it looks like it's getting back to that. But my ship has sailed on that. Like I'm done. I'm too old to sit around and fantasy fucking build a GTR. Like I'm good. Like
Right,
my
right.
son for my son, yeah. If he wants to get into that, he's not in the cars though at all. Actually, um, it's fine. You know, I remember I loved Gran Turismo. I mean, it was awesome. Gran Turismo 2 and 3, and really good memories of it. But at some point, it's like you got to bring me something new, man. Like you got to. To me, it's like a good movie. Like it's so rare to find a good movie that comes out in the theaters that you're like, I got to see it. Then you actually watch and go, fuck, that was fucking phenomenal. Like the last one I watched, that was. I mean, I can't believe it was made and it was so good. Have you watched Ford versus Ferrari yet?
No.
Oh, bro, dude. Oh my god. Oh, like that is a perfect. Like those. You watch that movie and you're like, why can't they make good this anymore? Like, why is it so?
Everything's a fucking reboot now, you know?
Exactly, and this is a story. It's a timepiece. Obviously, it's a place in time. Good. It's fucking. I bought it on Blu-ray. I went to. Did you know you can buy from Redbox now? Do you know
You
that?
can buy from Redbox now.
Yes. So I went to Redbox to rent it. I was like, I'm gonna rent fucking Ford versus Ferrari for $2.99 for Blu-ray. It said, would you like to buy it for $7? I was
Fuck
like,
yeah.
well, fuck yeah, for $7, I'll watch this movie more than twice. I bought it for so basically they just give you the disc out of the machine instead of so you don't get the case or anything, but who cares? So yeah, they just fucking sell it to you. So I was like, sweet, fucking Ford versus Ferrari, $7. I came home and I watched it a few times and I was like, this is fucking phenomenal, dude. The acting's awesome. The cars are fucking awesome. It's all about the GT40 development and stuff and racing at Le Mans. And this is fucking awesome. Like I just wish there was more of this. But yeah, you're right. It's all reboots.
fucking
More reboots.
fucking Ghostbusters. That's when I drew the straw. I was like, wow, this has got to
The
go.
girl Ghostbusters or the newest one?
That girl Ghostbusters shit, and it's nothing to do with like, oh, you can't, girls can't be Ghostbusters or any shit like
Of course
that.
not. No, no, no.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you can't fucking top fucking Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray and
No,
those
you can't.
cats.
You
That's some
can't.
special
This
shit right there.
this is. I heard Gavin McInnes said this about that movie. He said it would have been really. It would have been a better movie, and people would have embraced it more, and men would have liked it more if the women were actually reflective of how women would act if they saw ghosts.
Right.
Like if you imagine imagine them seeing Slimer for the first time and like missing themselves and like being scared the entire time. The whole movie they were just scared and running around and being neurotic, which is what generally women are. But somehow working in the fact that they can still defeat the ghosts or whatever and capture them in the trap. That would be hilarious. Like play into the stereotype. Don't make them badasses because it doesn't work. It just doesn't hit. You just go, oh, come on, seriously, this isn't no. This is not how it goes. And I agree with that. Like I watched it, and I went, these jokes aren't fucking funny. This is not. I mean, we know it's not obviously not realistic. It's a fucking movie about people capturing ghosts with a fucking laser beam. So, but it's like at some point you want to like play into it. Like the opposite of that was like Bridesmaids. You remember Bridesmaids?
Yeah, vaguely.
Like that was actually genuinely pretty funny because it was kind of playing into what it is to be a woman. And it's like a hangover version for chicks, basically. But they kind of played into the woman thing, and that's where the humor's at. But yeah, man, it's all about reboots. So they're making the new Ghostbusters, right? They've delayed for I don't know when it's coming. Looks like Stranger Things, but
It looks like Stranger Things.
it does. It looks like Stranger Things, but it's just like it's kind of like yeah, I guess I can't get excited for stuff anymore like that. Like I think Tenet's coming out, which is the next Christopher Nolan movie, which he's earned goodwill for me, so I will go see that in the theater. And we got Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington has a son that acts. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yes, I did not know this either until there's a show on HBO called Ballers, which is about NFL players, stuff like
Right,
that.
I think I've seen the trailer
Yeah,
for that or something.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson's in it. He plays like an agent or some shit like that.
He's done making
Um,
Fast and the Furious shit
yeah,
bags.
Hobbs, dude. Hobbs and Shaw sucked, bro.
I
They
didn't
sucked.
even watch it. I don't think
It's pretty.
I don't think I've watched a Fast and the Furious movie since like the fifth one probably. I was like, yeah, this has got to go.
Oh, dude, I think the fifth one is probably one of the better ones. That's the one they're in Brazil. That one's not bad. Seven. Oh god, there's so many of them. My
Seriously, it's
favorite
getting
still
up
is
there.
Tokyo Drift. Tokyo Drift is still my favorite. So I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
Han's the greatest character.
dude, I
So
thought it was a good narrative, because you went from the original one, obviously,
yeah.
like a lot of
Oh,
people
two is so bad.
resonated by the first one. Because I mean, it was,
Yeah.
dude, I saw that shit when I was like 12 or 13. That was some gangster
Did you see it in
shit
the
back
theater? Did you
then.
see it in the theater?
I did not. I saw the second one in the
Oh,
theater and thought it was the
yeah.
biggest piece of shit I've ever seen
Me
in my
too.
life.
Me too.
I was
I
like,
saw the first one. Yeah, yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this purple spider eclipse? That shit is not cool. What is this? The Evo's kind of all right, a little bit over
Yeah, I
the top, but
guess the graphics are gay, but
so
I
whack.
saw the first one in the theater, and I can still remember this day, like the feeling of walking out of the theater after that fucking movie was so pathetic. It was like I look back like so cornball because I went and saw it with my girlfriend at the time, and you can imagine a fucking movie theater full of young fucking just young bucks just looking to fucking get out in the parking lot and rip some fucking brodies and just fucking do some streetlight racing. So you get out to the parking lot and all it is everyone jumping in their fucking Hondas and just like revving it out and peeling out of the fucking like you felt juiced, man. It was fucking you're amped to go, take it to the streets. But yeah, no, the second one you're 100% right. Like I remember I saw in the theater too. Again, I went and saw it, and I sat there and I was like, that is the worst selection of cars I've ever. Even the intro scene where they're racing across the bridge, you got Suki, right, in her shitty S2000, her pink
Yo,
S2000.
fucking Veilside kid, dude.
Yeah,
Veilside
like
made some great parts, but man, some of those
their
Veilside
body kits
body
are just
kits,
terrible.
ugh,
Yeah, it's like Bomax. Bomax was that way.
same.
Bomax always made some bad stuff, but I remember watching it going, isn't that an automatic fucking Eclipse? Was that an automatic Eclipse too? I think it was an automatic. I don't think it
Probably.
was a fucking manual. But yeah, it was the worst time for car. Like that was a perfect example of everything wrong with the import scene. The worst time ever in the import scene, I think, was probably that time was the Too Fast Too Furious. Tyrese and his
Definitely.
purple Eclipse.
Dude, just even the narrative, man, it was a shift, which was nice that the third one didn't take that shift, but like it went from being about street racing and car culture or, street racing scene to essentially espionage, crime, action movie,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. And the characters in the third one were good. I mean, the casting of the redneck, fish out of water story, it was kind of corny. I get it, but it allowed it to introduce. I mean, the fish out of water part's important because it introduces you to Han and Japan and getting to see the kind of the car culture there. Although they still ham it up a little bit, with the fucking club music in the underground garage and shit like that, and
Little
the
Bow Wow.
chicks every little bow wow, and every girl's wearing a mini skirt and like their asses are hanging out and stuff. It's like they play it up that angle. Like every Fast and Furious movie has to have a scene where there's chicks dancing, like just ass shots all the time and music, and you kind of go, oh fuck. Come on, guys! Look, we get past this. Just show me the cars. Let's talk about the cars. That's why. That's why I like. I really like Initial D. Like Initial D is like about the cars still. Like they kind of there's the girl angle every now and then. That one chick that was fucking that old man in the
Oh man,
Mercedes
that
or whatever he
shit's
was
a
driving.
trip.
But yeah, but there's always about the 86 or the fucking 30, the GTR, or the fucking EK. Whatever. Like you learn the chassis codes and about the driving and the way they philosophically talk about like when you're driving. Yeah, it's cool. It's much cooler that way, and it's like hot version in best motoring and things like that. Just
Definitely.
I'd rather watch that than fucking Fast and the Furious or even American TV shows on cars. It's just kind of like, I don't know, man. It's like you watch it and you're just kind of like, I don't know. It's hard. I guess the Japanese cars in America still haven't made an impact, which is crazy in terms of like Motor Trend TV and stuff. Motor Trend now owns everything, it seems like. And even them, they don't have any shows that it's all about American muscle for the most part
Pretty
or
much.
donkey ass trucks.
Boats.
Boats and hoes and diesel bros, and it's like there's a huge. I mean, you see the prices that these Japanese cars are going for now, and you're like, why is there still no love for this?
Seriously.
Like, if you want to watch something fun, I don't know if you have Amazon Prime, but
I do.
there's a show. There's a show. There's only 4 episodes. You want to talk about a time travel to a worst time of cars? It's called Tuner Transformation, and
Transformation.
there's 4 episodes. Okay, episode 1, I believe I cannot remember the car they tuned on episode 1. Episode 2 is a 240 SX. Episode 3 is an RX-8. The first year it came out, so the show must have been shot in 04. 03, 04. And then the last episode is a fucking Focus ZX3 hatchback.
Oh hell no!
And it's basically, oh dude, it's brutal. So I watched the RX-8 one, and it was just the most painful thing to watch. And it's basically these people hand over their cars to these experts that were gonna tune or transform their car, and they got the graphics guy, and they got the powertrain guy, and it is so painful, but it is very fun to watch because it's very nostalgic. You watch and you go, God, I'm glad we've evolved from this. Like, we've gotten so much better, I think. Well, in some ways we've gotten better. Some ways we haven't.
Camber gang, cough, cough.
Because somehow Downstar still exists. It's still popular. I don't understand it.
I'm glad we're probably like the one of the only 10
good for Frank though.
10 people on the planet that aren't on the spiky hardware train.
I'm never gonna take away his success. I will never. If I met him, I'd say, dude, congratulations on your fucking successful business. Amazing. It's fucking hot topic. It's embarrassing for me personally. It's just absolutely, ugh. But hey, you know what? He's crushing it. Good for him, man. Good for him.
The funny thing about, like, let's say like people like, you know, somebody like Downstar, like fucking, let's say they do really well, right? They do real good. They're successful. They're financially stable. They have a business.
Yeah.
But they claim they're part of like the fucking Honda community, or they come from a Honda root background or whatever. Then they get some money and they buy like a fucking M3 or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they had their mind on other more expensive cars all along. Like,
yeah.
Not saying not saying I wouldn't go outside Honda, like, you know, like I would never go outside Honda, because I mean, like, dude, it'd be the shit to own an R32 or, you know, some other cars and stuff like that, but I don't know. I would feel weird, like, selling Honda parts and then, like, oh, I sell Honda parts to all you guys. I'm a Honda head, but I want a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Just
well, yeah. Again, it's what their motivation is, and it's like, I don't know. Maybe Frank has built Hondas before, and he has his own personal Hondas, and he grew up, you know, wrenching on them and stuff. And again, I get it, man. He found a niche early on in the scene, which is probably early 2000s. And introduced the hardware, and people liked it, and he just kept rolling with it. And again, a lot of people are not victim, but they're easily influenced by fads, especially when you're young, and trends, and it continues to flourish. And he'll always have that business, because if you're 18 or 19 or 17, you see someone with spiky hardware, you're probably like, oh, that's fucking cool because he has it, so it must be fucking cool. I'm gonna rock that spiky hardware. Or me, as a fucking almost 40-year-old, goes, that's fucking lame. Like, I don't want that. I would rather have an OEM. Give me an OEM fucking Bolt, dude. I don't want that shit, dude.
Even from
who am I trying to impress?
Even from a non-aesthetic purpose, all these fucking Allen bolts, man, they fucking back out.
Yeah. So like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Like, you know, like, again, it's kind of what we talked about earlier. If I see a 40-year-old guy with a Honda and he's rocking fucking Downstar hardware on his engine bay, I know enough, right? I'll slowly back away. Be like, I'm good. Appreciate your. Hey, congratulations on your build. Cool, man. I'm out. I'm good. Good. I'm not gonna have a beer with you unless you admit to me, hey, I'm only doing this because I want to win a car show or something.
For real though.
I just did this to.
When it comes to like these companies nowadays, man, like I can't believe the profit margins these companies go by. Like, let's say it costs X amount of money to make the product, right? And, you know, package it, ship it, whatever. Let's say a full Downstar engine hardware kit, right? For every single bolt for your, you know, whatever chassis, DC,
$30 it costs to make. $30.
Let's even say $75. Fucking, if you look,
what's he charging that?
For the RSX, I was curious one day. I just wanted to know because I've never looked this shit up because like it's not my forte. $600 for a full engine bolt dress up kit.
It's pretty pathetic, dude. I mean, he's congratulations. If you found a market that you're gonna get somebody to pay $600 for bits of metal to put aesthetic. It's really just aesthetic. It's just flair, basically. It's more pieces of flair Office Space
Office
reference.
Space
It's
reference.
more, yeah. It's more. It's more. If it's more pieces of flair for someone's uniform, then whatever, dude. Like, good for you, man. You're doing it. You're doing. That's the American dream, right? Is you find a gap in the market. You find a need, bring a product to market that will fill that need, and you get people to buy it. And he's doing it. And the need is people want to get attention and fucking just be accepted, I guess, so they can run some hardware. Because I guess they assume that if you have just OEM hardware, that people are gonna look past you. When in reality, true is no. That's why junk game is wrong. Because I look at Widmer stuff and you go, oh, it's just a fucking Civic or it's just a CRX. But you go, dude, there's some deep stuff.
Yeah, the funniest thing, I definitely realized it like when I got VIP for fucking H Day, VIP
Yeah.
car show or
What was
whatever.
that? Yeah. Well, what was that like?
Oh man, it was a nightmare. Like I
I
I
needed.
I thought like I would really like it, I was like, "Oh man, I got
Yeah.
VIP accepted. They're
Yeah.
gonna like my car, I'm gonna get some love." I'd
Yeah.
say out of thousands of people, like I'm talking, there was probably, I think there was about 5 or 6 thousand people there both day, each day. I think
Yeah.
maybe it was definitely less than 10. I'd say I might have had like 4 or 5 good conversations. I had this one guy come up to me and he
Yeah.
was like, dude, love the build, man. That, like I know it's not a real Type R clone. Obviously, it's left hand drive, but like this is like the build I would want to do, man, if I could afford it, yada yada. And he's like,
Yeah.
and I was parked next to this that fucking yellow Camber Gang automatic base model fucking RSX that was parked right next to me, fucking negative 30
Yeah.
degrees of
Yeah.
camber, 20-inch wheels and spiky hardware galore. And
Yeah.
he literally is like, I appreciate your build so much, man. Thank you so much for not making it look like that fucking thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, that alone made the trip, the 2 hour drive worth it. I was like, that's awesome.
I agree. Yeah, when I went to Import Face Off, the only time I ever took the RSX out, I went to Import Face Off here in Tucson, and I had a terrible time. I think overall, it was pretty boring. I just stood around, and I had a yeah. I met maybe a few people, that I thought was like an interesting conversation, but most of it is just not my scene, man. Car shows are not my scene. That's not
Definitely.
because again, the motivation behind to me, that's why I'm so fascinated by motivation is that for someone to be like, I want to build my car to put in a car show says enough to me about why they're building their car in the first place. It's obviously not about like I want to build this car because I want to find balance and I want to perform it to perform a certain way and I want it to make me feel a certain way. Although it will make you feel a certain way if other people tell you that they like it. That's totally different, and that's what you can't care about. You can't give a shit what other people think about your car. I mean, fuck
Exactly.
it. It's like fuck it. Who gives a fuck? I don't care if some random dude who walks by my car goes, "Oh, I really like this part." It's like, yeah, okay, well, it's great. I appreciate that, but I this for you, face. Like, all right, So it's just the judging. The judging part is because my car got judged, and I didn't place at all, which I wasn't expecting to, because I'm competing with people that are dropping $30,000-$40,000 in their fucking DC2s and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
When you got
Cool with
judged
that.
at Import Face Off, did they give you like a breakdown sheet of like, how you did in
Never
each
got
class?
it. Never got it. Nope.
Gotcha.
Nope. Nope. They
Same.
walked by. They looked at it for about 3 minutes or less. Looked around, looked inside the interior. Made some notes on the little notepad and walked by, and that was it. And I was done. And they announced the winners, and I was like, "Yep." I mean, I knew the moment I saw the other. Like, I saw a DC2 there that was fucking from some shop up in Phoenix. I think it was fucking in a shop. It wasn't ICB. It was some other shop. It was nice. I liked it. It was clean. It was a race build. So it was stripped interior. They had a really sweet. Well, I call it COVIDC5, but it's 5Z. A steering wheel. It's fucking badass. It was pretty badass. And I was like, that's pretty nice little build. Tucked and shit. And I knew at that point I was like, wasn't planning on winning anything anyway. But I was like, okay, that's probably gonna win. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, me personally, I didn't think I was gonna necessarily win anything, but I went there with my buddy. I met him up there. He has this H23 swap 5th gen Prelude, and it's
Nice.
he
Yeah.
puts a lot of time and effort into his build. He's not like on the spiky hardware crew or anything. He does like
Yeah.
kind of like bigger wheels than I would put on a fucking 5th gen Prelude and
Sure.
shit like that. But
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
his main objective is going fast and driving the car. So that's why I
Yep.
like him. He's a nice guy. But
Yeah.
he's won, like, I think the year before, he won best 5th gen Prelude. So he's won an H day before. You know what I mean? So when
Yeah.
at
That's cool.
the award ceremony, he was like, fucking like, he's like, get ready to get excited because you're definitely taking home at least second or third place, I'd say. He's like, if not first place, and I was like, bullshit. I was like, I might be able to get third place if I'm lucky or
Yeah.
something like that. And they
Yeah.
announced the fucking RSX winners, and it's like, Camber Gang yellow RSX, white RSX with shaved engine bay and Downstar hardware and not much else going on, and this red one
Yeah.
that's like a fucking it's got a fake Mugen fucking clip on it and stuff like that and all this shit. It's like just
Yeah.
mind blowing what gets, what wins and what doesn't win. I was
Yeah.
laughing so hard. I was like, yeah, I guess we didn't win that one. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Yeah. It's
still gonna drive it home and enjoy it.
and that's what matters, and I think that's one thing I always missed when I was growing up when I was reading. Well, he's about to die here soon. 5 minutes. Uh, One thing I always felt was missing when it came to like the print media, like Super Street and shit, Honda Tech or Honda Mag,
Honda tuning.
Honda Tuning. Thank you. Um, they never go into the owner. Like they talk about the owner in such a like, oh John, John, was looking for this front clip and he found it, or he bought these coilovers, whatever. But it's like I want to know why, like what motivate, like that's where I think it's really interesting, and that's one thing. There were certain channels on YouTube that have done this, but they've never really explored it enough. I would love Christian to do this. His Honda vlogs would be a perfect platform as like a brand to do this. But it's like there are builders very more popular than others based on YouTube, for example, YouTube popularity. But it's like I want to know more about you. Like, what is your? Why did you build? Why did you choose this? What motivates? Like, I want to know all about that because that's where you connect with people, as opposed to just showing the car and going, "This car's got this, these specs." Going, "Oh, sweet." Like,
Exactly, because that's just
want more than that.
math and numbers and price tags, basically.
Yeah, it's basically shows me like if you got into Super Street, it's because you spent a lot of money.
Essentially.
That's it. That's it. It's like you spent like 30, and that's why I always laughed. I always laughed. It's like, oh, this fucking awesome DC5 or whatever, whatever car, and it's like I can tell based on the part list they probably spent plus adding the cost of the car, 50 grand. And it's like they're a mechanic, and you're like, listen, bro, I know how much a mechanic makes. This is fucking unreal. Like this is unbelievable. Like I know, like if that's the truth, if you really did screw and say it, like tell that story. Tell me a little bit more about what that grind was
The
like.
fucking
You know?
hardships, saving,
Yeah,
eating
like because, and that's why I
ramen.
love seeing Dana's life situation because that dude's scrapping. He's in the scrapyard. He's grinding, like he's fabricating. He's reusing. He's recycling. Like he's making it work, and it's working well for what he wants to do with it. And that's what's awesome to watch. Same with Widmer. Like it's not T.J. Hunt, which is I bought some parts, or like
Let's
fucking
unbox them.
Tommy Law, Fortnite of the Honda game with different skins every week. You know, fucking, you got to clip that. That's an audio clip right there. That's you gotta chop that one up. But like, he literally is like like it's like every episode. It's like, I changed out this bumper. I'm going with this bumper now, and at these wheels, I'm going out with these wheels. And it's like, bro, what are you chasing? What are you going?
I'd
What do you?
really like to fucking
I
ask
genuinely
him.
want to know that. Like, when you get what got you into Hondas? Like, why are you here? Like, why are you fucking here, dude? Like, what are you doing? Oh, I want to. What? Like, what? I like Hondas. What do you like about them? What? Didn't he replace his B18 with something
He had a fucking Type
yeah,
R with I think it was Toda built bottom end, and he had Toda ITBs.
awesome.
He had an awesome setup, and it sounded
Yeah,
awesome. It ripped, and then it's like, oh well, I'm gonna get the car barred, so I'm gonna put a fucking B16A3 in it. And it's like, dude, but why? Like, you were getting by. Like, what changed?
But my thing
Like,
is, if he has enough money to buy all this shit, just buy a second car, bro, or something else.
exactly.
Like the amount of money these young men in California, I guess they have a different economy down there where these kids can afford this shit. Like I make good money. I can't afford this shit. I'm like, I can't fucking afford fucking Volk wheels.
Dude,
What the
I
fuck,
feel that
dude?
grind, man.
I'm like, I
Three
mean, it's
thousand
like,
dollars for a set of
yeah,
wheels is just.
for a fit
I
to put on a $2,000 car. It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? You know? So that's where I wish maybe Christian could explore this. Is like interviewing people, having honest conversations about car culture, and I think is way more interesting than just hey, here's my car, here's my part list. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sweet car. It's like basically looking like it's akin to. I mean, I guess if you like reading skin mags, you open up an old Playboy and you just look at some pussy and you're like, yep, that's a vagina. And you close up and go, what are her dimensions? You go, 36, 24. Fuck, she's got some hips. Look at that vagina. Okay, next.
Peace out.
But maybe there's some guys out there that are like, I want to know what her thoughts are on fucking the economy and fiat currency. Like maybe I'm interested in that a little bit more. Like I want to get to know her a little bit more before I stare at her vagina. I don't know. It's just
Take
kind
a
of
look into her soul.
yeah, yeah, through through her legs. But yeah, it's like yeah, that's where I think unfortunately the car community is still we haven't made, and maybe that'll never happen because nobody really honestly gives a shit, and all they care about is the eye candy. Maybe that's okay, I guess. That's it.
Yeah,
But
I think like a lot of people that watch YouTube, like they either don't know how to build cars or it's just outside their wheelhouse of like, oh, they can't afford it, so they're like, "Oh, bro, just want to watch and see your build and see all these parts I can't afford or I don't know how to install, you
yeah,
know?"
well, yeah, I think that's right too. But I also think that I remember growing up and I didn't know anything about cars, and my father didn't teach me anything. So for me, I learned somewhat from my friend, but I was still a super novice. And then it was a lot of trial and error. And then of course YouTube's been a really big help. And I think if a lot of people were just more honest with their the knowledge gaps that exist between some of us being able to tackle certain jobs, I think would help a lot. But nobody really wants to have those conversations, I guess. I don't know. It's just, be full of shit. So
Yeah, a lot of some people sit on information. Like not everybody, obviously. You got people like Dana who just like
dude, he's just
break everything down, man. Like he teaches you like how to fucking port cylinders and stuff and
yep.
all kinds of cool stuff. And you got like an interesting character that almost reminds me of like Dana, but even one step further is fucking Fong. Have you ever seen Fong on PFI Speed? The Asian guy with
Oh,
the this guy is like Mr. Miyagi of engine building and racing.
oh, cool.
He's totally like a Dana, and he'll show you like you'll see like all these kind of trinkets, these Easter eggs of like
Yeah.
hidden engine building, tuning knowledge, and all this crazy shit. Like he was showing this one thing I'd never seen this shit before. I always thought you would have to have like a specific tool or something. Like when you change valve train on a new head and you have brand new valves, you have to lap the valves.
Uh-huh.
So I always thought you had some kind of like, valve train tool or valve tool or something like that that does it for you, or they just do it at the machine shop. This
Yeah.
fucking guy takes a drill and then he takes a
Yep.
piece of vacuum tube and puts it on the end of the drill bit and then puts the vacuum line on the end of the valve and spins it so it seats the valve and laps the valve. I was like, yeah, that's some
Ah,
straight MacGyver shit right there.
that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, and
like,
that's the thing is, I mean, cars are really, if you're a novice, cars are really intimidating. A lot of moving parts, a lot of torque, a lot of different torque specs, a lot of but once you get past it and you realize it's just a bunch of bits and bobs and bolts, they're put together a certain way. As long as you put them back in the same way and you torque everything as a way as it's supposed to be, obviously, it should work. That's the way it is. It's a machine. Be built, not that complicated. But yeah, it's just people. It's just really hard. You get a lot of young guys start watching YouTube and seeing these builds from different people, and they just want to like lap it up, but they don't really want to do it themselves, or they're scared to get into it, or they don't know how to, or they don't have the money to. But I don't know. People seem to be honest with each other about it. So
It's definitely that intimidation factor. I mean, I've gone through it with certain things. You know what I mean?
oh
Like
yeah,
I remember,
total
I,
100%.
I remember when I built the rebuilt the fucking the shift selector. I was like, oh man, now we're really getting in some weird territory. Like I got to get this shit
Yeah,
right. You know?
right, right. Well, that was like me doing the valve seals on the
I was
Type
about to
R, the
say that with
V18.
the rope or whatever. That's like some OG
Yeah,
shit right there.
that's I honestly never worked on inside the engine, inside any engine before. I've always done suspension brakes. Other bolt-ons have been easy, but like getting into the internals is always something that I was not afraid to do, but I just never had a chance to do it. And it was awesome. I loved it, and I really want to build my own. That's why at some point in a perfect world of post COVID and post fucking the burning of our country down, I would love to get a Type R and build or not Type R, but DC5 or something, and build my own engine on an engine stand, put it together, pick out cams, pick out valve train, do it right, take my time, then eventually put it in and fucking run with it. And I think that'd be a blast. And I think that probably will happen at some point. Just it just takes time. And it's intimidating, but just research, research, and you'll be fine.
Oh, for sure. And like
Yeah.
building an engine like from the ground up, man, you know exactly what you put into. You know exactly how it's gonna,
Exactly.
like if you took your
Right.
time, like
Yeah.
gap the
Follow
rings
the
right,
manual.
fucking
Yep.
check compression, everything's good, everything's
Yep.
tight, fucking fire that bitch up, break it in,
Exactly.
and have fun for
Yeah.
X amount of miles.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Yeah, exactly.
For
So
real though.
cool, dude. Well, I gotta get going because my battery on my laptop's about to die.
Yeah,
So
man. Shit,
and it's been a
right
great
at fucking almost
been 2 hours.
2 hours. Yo.
Oh, dude. Have fun. You don't need to chop this up that much. I think this is pretty solid. So
Yeah, no, I think shit, I had a good time. I thought we
if anyone, yo,
covered
I
a
think
round
we'll
of
do this. We
topics.
should just we'll do this once a week if you
Oh, I'd be
want.
game.
I'm on my patio looking at the beautiful burning mountain right now, and
R.I.P.
yeah, yeah, I know, seriously, we'll just pick out some topics. We'll see how the week unfolds, and we'll just pick some topics and fucking hit them. I'll
Sounds
pick
like a
some for
plan,
you. You
man.
can pick some for me, and we'll just fucking riff, and then uh yeah, dude, post this up however you want, man. Whatever works for you. So all
Fuck yeah,
good.
man.
Enjoy it.
I'll send you a revision of first draft. Make sure it's all
Ah,
good.
bro, just fucking run. Don't,
He
dude.
said,
You know I
just
don't
do
give a
it.
fuck.
Hey,
Just
there you
do it,
go.
dude. Run with it. I will never edit it. I would never want it edited anyway, unless there's like some weird. Like, if I have to take a shit, get up and leave, then maybe you want to edit that portion out. But this is a good talk,
put
so it's
put
all good, man.
put some elevator music in there.
That'd be funny. Yeah,
Any
buddy. Yeah.
final thoughts or sign off note?
Uh, I don't think I have any tonight. Just if anyone actually gets this far, I mean, I
You're a gangster.
don't know. Yeah, seriously, you have a lot of free time on your hands. But
That's right.
uh, no, it was great. It was really fun. But no, I need to get an outlet to get some of the stuff inside me out because I'd bore the shit out of my wife. I talk
Healthy
like this all the
outlets
time.
always needed.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, no, it's all good, buddy. So this is fun.
Hell yeah, man.
All right,
Well,
dude.
until next
I
time,
don't.
man. Have a good night, man.
All right, buddy. Yeah, you too. Peace out.
Later. All right, guys. Well, episode 1 in the books. Yeah, good talk. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I felt pretty good about it. That was some shooting the shit with a homie, Lachlan, man. Definitely OG to the. I'm not gonna say the car scene because I know he would detest to it. But how about the car game? We'll call it the car game because that guy's definitely been around the block, knows a many of things, has a very interesting viewpoint. I definitely agree with it. You know, he's definitely an OG. But episode 1, guys, if you guys like this, don't hit that like button. You can hit whatever the fuck you want. We don't do that shit around here. But thanks for listening. If you guys have any questions or topics or anything like that, you want us to address in the next one, leave it down in the comments or hit me up on Instagram, shades_Wade. Um, I think we're about done here. So over and out. Have a good motherfucking night. Be y'all.